Now, may there be a little bit of bias in this video because I am a massive Richmond fan who would let Dustin Martin do inexplicable things to me if he really wanted to. Yeah, potentially, but also, am I speaking straight facts when I say that Richmond not only dominated the 2024 AFL trade period, but possibly had one of the best and most interesting trade periods we have ever seen. Again, before I get into all of that and more, if you haven't already, there's still a decent amount of you guys who watch these videos who are not subscribed. So if you could do me a massive favor, just a kid wearing a Tate McRae shirt who likes to make AFL videos, make sure to leave a like on this video and subscribe to the channel for all the latest AFL content. Also, push that notification bell either with your finger or your other finger that's in a disclosable place. Unless you're a girl, then just use that finger to turn on those notification bells so you never miss a video of my majestic voice. Anyway, Richmond obviously had a 2024 trade period that, before it even started, was looking like it was going to be one of the most interesting in AFL history. We know the Richmond Football Club would finish last in what would statistically be their worst season of all time, with a ton of questions from Tigers fans saying, look, if we have pick 1 here and all this type of stuff, is that enough to really help this rebuild? Is just drafting one good player at pick 1 and one good player at pick 21 or whatever going to be enough to progress this rebuild enough where it's going to be looking good in a couple years? Obviously not, and that's why I sneeze, because I'm allergic to bullshit. Again, every Richmond fan kind of knew that a little bit more needed to get done. And when Richmond fans heard that I think Shea Bolton would potentially be looking for a trade, we all kind of looked at each other and we were like, look, he's one of our best players, but again, it would be tough to lose him, but Freo have a ton of picks. Let's just make it happen, right? When we heard that Jack Rain would potentially be leaving as a free agent, again, a lot of Richmond fans looked at each other and thought, is this really that bad of a decision? He hasn't played that good in the last couple years, and he, again, needs a fresh start on a different team. Richmond can get a compensation pick. We all kind of agreed collectively that those would probably be smart moves to maybe happen. But then when I think a lot of Richmond fans heard that Liam Baker would be leaving, a guy who was almost semi-promised to be Richmond's next captain in a team that clearly has by far the worst leadership currently in the AFL, we all kind of looked at each other and were just like, we don't know about that one. There was a collective disagreement. And then when Daniel Rioli reportedly met with the Gold Coast Suns, that was a scary, scary sight. But at the end of the day, whatever you may think, all of this ended up happening, and Blair Hartley, who is arguably the best list manager in all of football for the Richmond Football Club, really cooked and did an insane amount of trades. Jack Rain was the first pillar to fall, with the Tigers getting back pick 42, not necessarily what they were looking for, but it didn't end up being that bad because they used that 42 in a later trade to trade up and get pick 20 from the Brisbane Lions, which was an amazing smart move, giving yourself another first round pick. They then went and traded Liam Baker in a big 3-team trade, which got them pick 14, a very respectable pick back for the Richmond Football Club. They then obviously traded away Shea Bolton, got picks 10, 11, and 18 for Bolton, 14, a future third, and traded Daniel Rioli for pick 6 and 23, and they moved a bunch of other thirds and fourths. If my calculations in my head do serve me right, that means Richmond have picks 1, 6, 10, 11, 18, 20, 23, and 24. 8 picks in the top 24 in the AFL draft, giving them a collective point system of over 10,000. Now, if any of you guys are watching this video and you just squirted all garlic aioli sauce out of yourself onto the screen, I don't blame you, because Richmond have absolutely cooked when it does come to this trade period, and have done flat out fantastic. Bringing in all those draft picks to help out this team now is going to go a long way. But unfortunately, there is one really sad thing that I would like to talk about in this video as we're going forward. Chris Toce, the recently appointed, I want to say, because I think they appointed him in March, recruiting manager for the Richmond Football Club, actually passed away a couple of days before making this video. The guy Richmond brought in to draft players with all of those picks that they have brought in is no longer with us. It's terrible. Like, flat out, he is very devastating, because we know Chris Toce, in his last 2 years of his career, actually spent them at St Kilda and had some fantastic seasons where he drafted Darcy Wilson amongst others, and was subsequently fired, reportedly because of certain reasons, such as he didn't agree with Stephen Silvani, and Stephen Silvani decided to fire him to bring in one of his own personal connections. Very controversial. I don't want to get all into it that much. But Richmond took the opportunity to hire him, knowing he's had a really good last 2 drafts. And he was supposed to take us forward. And it looked like everyone at the club loved him. And oh my God, like, even though Richmond have done so fantastic in this offseason, I just wanted to touch on this real quick, because Richmond, of course, said that we are devastated for Chris's family and his friends. We miss him dearly. The club is mourning the passing of national recruiting manager Chris Toce. Again, it's very crap, and it's not fun at all that now this has all happened. And Richmond, obviously, the last thing they're thinking of is, this guy's passed away, we now got to go and hire a new man. That they're mourning, as they should be, but now that becomes the reality of things. Is Richmond had a guy who spent all this hard time and effort doing everything. Now he's no longer here. It's not like Richmond are back at square one, though. Of course, this is a process that has like 10 people all involved who would have been working for Chris Toce and Blair Hartley. Richmond should still be in a very good spot to go forward with this draft. I just wanted to mention this real quick, so I haven't spoken about this on the channel. Rest in peace, Chris Toce. But again, your commitment to the Richmond Football Club obviously has not gone unnoticed. And now Richmond have built this massive draft that won't be under Chris Toce anymore, but will still be going forward under Toce's legacy, Blair Hartley's legacy, amongst others, which is, again, it's very exciting to see what the Tigers are going to do. And they've really set themselves to be in a massive, really awesome situation now where they have a lot of draft picks in their hands. Another thing that could be mentioned that we don't even know yet is going to be interesting to see how this goes. Oh my God, I've just munted my hair even more than it already is. I've got the Karen cut going on right now. Shout out Karens around the world. What Richmond could always do is they can get to pick 11, and if the player they want is not on the board and maybe is on the board at 15, they think, they can always trade away like pick 11 for 15 and a future second, maybe even a future third from some team who's really desperate to trade up. We know some teams can get super desperate and just trade away a ton of stuff. So Richmond could really bulk up some assets in the next year's draft if a situation like that was to come along. That's just how Richmond have put themselves in this trade period. Again, you still look at the fact that they still lost Daniel Rioli, Liam Baker, Jack Graham, and Shea Bolton. It obviously hurts. But it's like, yeah, we know that, but it's also like we had to do that. And Richmond become one of the only teams in the AFL to take that OKC approach from the NBA and trade away a lot of veterans and a lot of depth to bring in draft picks and really go and tank and hit the draft. We know that Richmond are probably going to finish last, not only next year, and most likely is a lock, but probably the year after that. But you're doing it all before Tasmania get in, and realistically, they could be by far, again, the best team in like 7 or 8 years if they do draft these players wise. Again, I'm going to be going over in a completely different video on who I think the Richmond Football Club will be drafting. But as we know, it will most likely so far be potentially like Sam Lawler at pick 1, which looks like a very exciting prospect. So it's going to be very interesting to see how this, of course, all does go and unfold. If you haven't already, I would very much appreciate it if you guys please make sure you leave a like and subscribe to the channel for all latest AFL content and news. go and comment all of your thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below. What do you guys think about all of this? I'd very much like to know. Subscribe to my gaming channel and my IRL/vlogging channels. Links down below. And I guess I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.